All right, let's jump right in. Kings, power struggles, those big what-if moments in history. That's our jam today. We're going deep into Chronicles, chapter 16 through 18, two kings, Asa and his son, Jehoshaphat.
We're talking ancient Israel and Judah, a constant back and forth, alliances, betrayals, all the good stuff.
Oh, yeah, the drama is real. So we start with King Asa, 36 years into his reign. Things are, well, tense. King Baasha of Israel is making moves, fortifying Ramah. Not good.
Not good at all. Imagine a major trade route. Rama is right smack in the middle. Whoever controls it controls the flow, the economy, everything. Judah's in a tight spot.
And Asa, he's got to do something drastic. So he digs deep into the treasuries, and I don't just mean the royal ones. We're talking temple treasury, the big leagues, silver, gold, you name it. It's all loaded up, sent off to Ben-Hadad, king of Aram, with a little message. Hey, how about an alliance? We've got a mutual problem. Risky move.
Bold doesn't even cover it. Back then, using sacred wealth for, let's be honest, political maneuvering, that was unheard of.
Yeah.
Shows how desperate Asa was.
And get this, it worked. Ben-Hadad jumps at the chance, Israel's on the ropes, Baasha has to back off, and Asa, he even scores some sweet building materials. Win-win, right?
Short term, yeah, a win. But then comes a prophet, Hanani. Prophets weren't just, predicting the future. They were the moral compass, holding everyone accountable, especially the king.
And Hanani, he did not hold back. He basically told Asa, look, you put your trust in Aram, not in God. Big mistake.
It was a huge deal. Remember, prophets were seen as speaking directly for God. Going against them was like going against God himself. Heavy stuff.
And how does Asa react? Humility. Nope. He throws Hanani in prison, starts oppressing his people. Ironic, right? The king, known for his religious reforms, falling into the same trap of power he preached against.
It really makes you think anyone, no matter how well-intentioned, put under enough pressure facing those impossible choices, it can change you. Leadership's a tough gig.
And it's a tragic ending for Asa. Gets this terrible disease, his feet. But instead of turning back to faith, he puts his trust in doctors. Heartbreaking. A king who started with such promise. What do you make of that final choice? Choosing medicine over faith.
Tough to say what was going through his mind then. Did he feel abandoned by God after Hanani's words? Or did he just think human skill was his best bet? We see the events, the choices, but those inner struggles, they remain a mystery.
It makes you wonder, what if Asa had stuck with faith over politics? Would the story be different?
Interesting questions as we move to his son Jehoshaphat, but we'll save that for next time. It really makes you wonder, would he follow his father's path or forge a new one? That's the question with Jehoshaphat, right? Taking the throne after Asa.
And from the get-go, Jehoshaphat, he seemed to get it. He knew Judah needed strength, but not just armies and walls.
Right, he went big on the religious reforms, didn't he? Cracking down on idol worship, which, let's be honest, was like whack-a-mole back then. Sending out officials, Levites, teachers everywhere. It was a total reset. Putting faith front and center, reminding everyone this is the foundation, this is what we stand on. And get this, it worked. Chronicles paints this picture of Judah booming, peaceful, prosperous in the army. Huge. Over 1 million soldiers, some accounts say. Can you imagine?
1 million. Forget intimidating, that's just showing off. Who's messing with that? But then Jehoshaphat, he makes a decision, and I gotta be honest, it threw me for a loop.
The Ahab alliance, right? Yeah, historians still debate that one.
Because Ahab, king of Israel, wasn't exactly known for his holiness, was he? More like, how many prophets can I tick off today?
That's putting it mildly. This is a guy known for idol worship, going against everything Jehoshaphat supposedly stood for. It's a head-scratcher.
So why? Why would a king known for piety, for leading a religious revival, team up with Ahab? What's the logic there?
Well, remember what we said before, international relations back then. It was complicated. Alliances, sometimes it's about survival, not shared beliefs. Maybe Jehoshaphat saw it as a way to secure the borders, get access to resources, trade. Sometimes you got to make deals with the, shall we say, less than righteous.
Real politics, ancient world edition. But those deals, they come with strings. Like when Jehoshaphat agrees to join Ahab's campaign, Ramoth-Gilead. Speaking of, kings and prophets were pretty intertwined, weren't they? It wasn't just a suggestion box. Those prophets had some serious clout.
Oh, totally. It's like, imagine getting a direct line to, well, the ultimate authority. You'd build kings, yeah, they had power, but even they couldn't ignore that kind of divine feedback loop. It was always this balancing act, politics and piety.
Gotta imagine those were some interesting conversations. But anyway, back to Ramoth-Gilead, Jehoshaphat, devout as always, says, hey, maybe we ask the prophets first.
Sensible, right?
On the surface, yeah. But Ahab, he calls this massive gathering of prophets, 400 of them, all singing the same tune. Victory is assured, like a well-rehearsed choir. A little too well-rehearsed, maybe? Because Jehoshaphat, he's not buying it. Something's off. It's like that feeling when everyone's telling you what you want to hear, but
It's all a little too neat, right? And that's where Micaiah comes in.
our dissenting voice. Tell me he has good news.
Oh, Micaiah. He's not just a prophet, he's a whole mood. He comes in and he doesn't just give a prediction, he tells a story. Vivid, cinematic, you'd be glued to your seat.
Don't leave me hanging. What's the story?
He describes the scene up in heaven. God asks, who will entice Ahab to his doom? And a spirit steps up, volunteers to be a lying spirit, speaking through all those prophets, promising victory. Chilling, right?
Okay, goosebumps. Even knowing how it ends, that's intense. But you almost feel for Ahab, surrounded by yes men, no one to tell him the truth. That's a trap anyone can fall into anytime, any place.
100%.
Mhm.
We need those people who challenge us, offer different views, not just echo what we want. That's a lesson for kings and, well, everyone else.
Ahab, though, prophecy or not, he's rolling the dice. And this is what gets me about Jehoshaphat. He's heard the warning, he knows the risks, but he still goes along with it. What's going through his head?
$1 million question, right? Maybe he felt trapped by politics, or maybe he thought somehow his presence, his faith, could soften the blow. Who knows? But it shows, even the most devout, we all have doubts we try to rationalize.
Those internal battles, faith versus reality, that's something we can all relate to, but we'll have to unpack that more next time because we're out of time for today. It's almost like watching a train wreck in slow motion. You know you've been warned, but you can't help but look away.
That's human nature for you. Even when we know better, there's this part of us that wants to believe we can outrun fate.
And Ahab, he was all about outrunning fate this time around. He cooks up this plan to disguise himself on the battlefield.
Oh yeah, thinking he could slip past destiny by swapping out his royal robes.
As if a costume change could fool the divine plan, right? And the irony is, he convinces Jehoshaphat to wear his robes, making him the prime target.
Talk about an awkward, no thanks moment. Gotta wonder what Jehoshaphat was thinking.
Yeah, hey buddy, I know you're trying to avoid a prophecy, but I'd rather not be a human dartboard today. But seriously, it's a powerful image trying to outsmart fate.
And it's a reminder that we can't escape the consequences of our choices, no matter how hard we try to blend in with the crowd.
You reap what you sow, as they say. And in Ahab's case, a random arrow found its mark, fulfilling that prophecy he tried so desperately to avoid.
Just like Micaiah foresaw, right down to the finest detail. It really makes you think about free will versus destiny.
It's that constant tension, isn't it? We make our choices, but there's also this sense that some things are, well, unavoidable. But here's the thing that always gets me. Ahab's deception leads to his downfall, as predicted, but Jehoshaphat, who is clearly along for the ride, he makes it out alive.
It's one of those details that makes you pause and go, wait a minute, how'd that happen?
Right. He's Ahab's right-hand man in this whole debacle, yet he escapes the carnage. What's the takeaway there?
It's a question that has puzzled scholars for ages. Some believe it points to Jehoshaphat's genuine desire to seek God's will even when he messed up, that even imperfect attempts to follow a higher path offer some level of protection.
It's almost like he gets points for trying, even if he didn't always get it right.
Exactly. And it highlights the importance of keeping that line of communication open, seeking guidance, even when the answers are tough to swallow.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the lives of Asa and Jehoshaphat, with all their political maneuvering, alliances, and those prophetic gut punches, what's the message for us here today?
Their stories remind us that leadership, faith, life itself, it's messy. None of us are immune to those moments where we let ambition, fear, or the allure of power lead us astray.
We've all got those what was I thinking moments looking back.
Absolutely. But within those messy human stories, there's also this enduring message of hope, of resilience, of finding strength in those moments when we choose to see truth, even when it's hard.
So maybe it's not about striving for perfection, but about embracing the journey, owning our mistakes, and always coming back to those core values that guide us.
Beautifully said. And on that note, we've reached the end of our deep dive today. We hope you've enjoyed this journey through ancient history, full of intrigue, drama, and those timeless questions about faith, leadership, and what it means to navigate this thing called life.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking those tough questions, and keep seeking out those stories that remind us of our shared humanity.
Welcome to Charlie and Mia's podcast. We're embarking on an exciting journey to read through the entire Bible in just 1 year. Every day, we dive into Scripture, exploring its meanings and how it applies to our lives today. We invite you to join us on this incredible adventure of learning and discovery. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you never miss an episode.